I'm Jonathan Eder, and today we're going to look at learning jazz piano. In my last class, we looked at the importance of the major scales, the diatonic triads, and seventh chords in all inversions, 2-5-1s, which is an important pattern to learn for jazz piano. The 2-5-1 is the pattern that is integral to most jazz repertoire, and by that I mean music from the 1920s to the 1950s, primarily music from Broadway, George Gershwin, Cole Porter, Richard Rodgers, Jerome Kern. And not only do we need to learn the 2-5-1, we need to apply it to repertoire, and we need to learn how to stylize it in a sense, how to arrange it, how to use it in different parts of the piano. So going back a bit, listening to the 2-5-1, this tune that I just played a little bit of is called How High the Moon. How High the Moon uses a lot of 2-5-1 patterns. If you don't know it, it was made famous by Les Paul and his wife Mary Ford. Les Paul is also famous for inventing the electric guitar and modern recording techniques and multi-track recording. But this particular tune is in the key of G major. You can find a lot of sheet music for it. And it starts with a G major 7 chord. And then it goes immediately to the key of F. And it does that by using a 2-5-1. G minor 7, C7, F major 7. And then immediately it modulates to a new key, to the key of E flat. F minor 7, B flat 7, E flat major 7. And this is very common for jazz tunes. So we went from the key of G to the key of F to the key of E flat. We went by whole steps. And this is the way that you need to practice the 2-5-1. You need to, if you look at the root movement, we're going in the key of F from G up a fourth to C, down a fifth to F. And then from F up a fourth to B flat, down a fifth to E flat. That is the root movement of the 2-5-1. And frankly, it is integral to all music, classical or otherwise. Fifths are a byproduct of what we call the harmonic series or the overtone series, and I'll digress a little bit, but every note on the piano, play a C, is really the result of other notes. The C actually contains other notes. So if I hold down the C silently on the piano, allowing the damper to be raised from the string, and I play the C an octave higher, I can actually play it without actually striking with the hammer. I could reverse that. I'll hold the C an octave above middle C down silently and play the middle C, and you may be able to hear that C coming out. That's called a sympathetic harmonic, and if I go up a half step or down a half step to B, I won't get the same result. And that's sort of the magic of music. And the next most common harmonic, sympathetic vibration, is a fifth above that C. That's the G. And if I play a middle C on the piano, you should be able to hear that G coming out of the piano. Again, if I go up a half step to A flat or down a half step, it really, if I go up a half step to G sharp and then go down a half step to G flat, you won't get the same result, but you do if I hold down the fifth. So all musical instruments are really made to exploit that phenomenon, this overtone series. And even though we can't see it, we can certainly hear it. It's analogous in a sense to refracting light. We've all experienced seeing a rainbow, and we know we can take white light and hold a prism up to it and bend it and create the colors of the rainbow, and those colors are always constant wherever we are in the world. They're always in the same order, in the same way, and sound behaves in a very similar manner. So what we're doing is we are using these overtone series to make music, and they can be explained in a fairly rational way. As to why we like them, that's a complete mystery. But I'm just mentioning this a little bit because people ask me sometimes, why are fourths and fifths important to learn, and why do we need to learn certain things in a certain order? And so what I want to get across is that everything that I'm telling you, I'm telling you for a reason, and I'm also encouraging you to do things in a certain order so that you can begin to think musically. The musical composition, good composition, is an outgrowth of this natural phenomenon, and musical instruments are made to exploit that phenomenon. So, having said that, let's go back for a moment. Again, 2-5-1. If you're going to practice it, if we're starting in the key of G, G major 7, or let's say we're starting in G major 7, going to the key of F, G minor 7, C7, F major 7. G minor 7, G, B flat, D, F. G, B flat, C, E. That's second inversion. Root position would be C, E, G, B flat. I'm using second inversion because it's more convenient and it sounds better. It's called smooth voice leading. And then finally, F major 7, F, A, C, E. Now we've covered some of these in my lesson about diatonic seventh chords and 2-5-1s. So I may be going a little bit fast in terms of what chords I'm playing. But I want you to get the gist of what we're doing. We're going up a fourth and down a fifth, and up a fourth again and down a fifth. And this is the root movement. If you can practice that, that's the underpinning of the 2-5-1. So we start in the key of F, let's say, and then we go to the key of E flat, and we're going to go through 6 keys out of a possible 12. We've gone by whole steps: F, E flat, D flat, B, A, and then G, and then we're back to F again. And then to complete that, you would go up or down a half step. You could start on G flat and move by whole steps again and go through all those keys. You can take the root position chord and second inversion chord that you're playing in block chords in this hand, and you can mimic it. You can duplicate it in the right hand. However, rather than playing it as a block chord, try playing it as a broken chord, outlining the chord, going up, down, up. That'll become very useful as you learn to improvise. Notice what I'm doing here in the right hand. I'm actually just playing the exact same notes as I am in the left hand. The only difference is I am playing them one by one in the right hand, and in the left hand I'm playing them all at the same time. Now, as I keep going down on the keyboard, it's going to become a problem. You're going to start hearing the sound becoming very muddy, very dense, and the piano has a big range. So how do we handle that? One way is for what we call shell voicing. So a shell voicing is just that, the shell, the outside of something. Let's take again a 2-5-1 in the key of F, G, B flat, D, F. We take the middle 2 notes, B flat and D, bring them up in the right hand. It's called an open voice chord as well. 2, 5, 1. So we start out by playing exactly what we've just practiced in the left hand. The only difference is we remove the middle notes. Then the next chord, we play exactly what we just practiced, but we're going to hold on to the top 2 notes and release the bottom 2 notes, G and B flat. In the right hand, we're going to play one of those B flats. We're not going to play the G. The G is the 5th of the chord, and often the G is superfluous, meaning that it's just not particularly necessary. It's often heard as a sympathetic harmonic anyway. But we're going to add the 9th. It's going to sound like this. C, E, B flat, D. So 2, 5, and then we get to the 1 chord, F, E, A, C, root, 7th, 3rd, 5th. So I'll do that one more time. Root, 7th, 3rd, 5th, that's G minor 7, root, 3rd, 7th, 9th, and of course when I'm saying 7th, I mean flatted 7th, because it's a dominant 7th chord, and then root, 7th, 3rd, 5th. Once again, G, root, F, flatted 7th, B flat, flatted 3rd, D, 5th, C, root, E, 3rd, B flat, flatted 7th, D, 9th, and C, 9 or C7 with an added 9th, F, E, A, C, root, 7th, 3rd, 5th. I would continue going down like that, but it becomes much more effective when we hear it down here. Very, very different than almost unintelligible that way. So when we're playing the tune, How High the Moon, rather than playing, which is a little high in the piano, or it's a little low, but fine to practice that way in the beginning. Open voice, shell voicing. Now on the left hand, I have a 3rd, C and D. Well, I can take that 3rd and expand it. I can play the C an octave lower and create a 10th. Nicer sound, very rich. There's the 3rd or the 10th, and I can pull the pedal down. I can't reach that by myself, but if you notice, I'm playing the melody in the top part of my hand, and that really is one of the important points of pianism, to be able to split your hand up to do 2 different things. So the lower part of my hand is acting as a guitar player, if you will. Same with the thumb in the left hand. And the top notes, 3, 4, and 5, are playing the melody. So that's, say, the trumpet player. And the lower note in the left hand is the bass. So I have a melody. I have 3 voices in a sense. I have the chord, and I have the bass. Bass. And those middle voices can create some type of rhythmic interest. You might have caught this. That's a 2-5-1 as well, but it's a 2-5-1 in a minor key, not in a major key. So it would stand to reason that the 1 chord in a major key is going to be different than the 1 chord in a minor key. The first chord in a major key is major. The first chord in a minor key is minor. And the 2 chord is different as well. In a minor key, the 2 chord, or the 2-7, is actually has a flatted 5th in it. So 2-5-1 in the key of G major. A minor 7, A, C, E, G, 5, A, C, D, F sharp, that's it in second inversion, G, B, D, F sharp, that's our 2-5-1. In a minor key, A, C, E flat, flatted 5th, G. That's because in the key of G minor, we have an E flat. Okay? So 2-5-1. And in this tune, in How High the Moon, that's what happens. It's often written incorrectly in sheet music, but that's the chord. G major 7, G minor 7, C7, F major 7, 2-5-1 to F, F minor 7, B flat 7, E flat major 7, 2-5-1 to E flat. Now, 2-5-1 in a minor key, G minor 7. Then major 7, key G. 2-5-1 B minor 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. So I refer to the B minor chord as a 3 chord. Now, B minor 7, E7 is a 2-5-1 in its own right. And you could consider it, call it a 2-5-1 in the key of A. However, in this case, those two chords really function in the key of G. And if you can remember your diatonic 7 chords, the third chord in the key of G is B minor 7. So up a fourth from B to E, down a fifth to A. 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. There's your root movement. So in jazz, you take these 2-5-1s and you daisy chain them together. You link them together, and they cascade, kind of like a little spiral staircase. Listen to the 2-5-1 for a moment. Here's 2-5-1, 2-5-1. Each time there's a resolution. The pattern comes to rest. Here's the same 2-5, but without the 1. The pattern will not come to rest. 2-5, 2-5. So A minor 7, D7, G minor 7, C7, F minor 7, B flat 7, E flat minor 7, A flat 7, and then finally, let's say, well, resolve to D flat major 7. That's very common to hear. That's what makes jazz interesting. Even though the song will essentially be in one key, this piece is in the key of G, it doesn't remain in G for very long. And of course, when we're talking about modulating to different keys, these key changes are relatively brief, but nevertheless, they do exist, and they need to be addressed. They don't happen as frequently in classical music in the same way, but there are key modulations in classical music, and they do more often than not use fourths and fifths. So again, just to review, we're talking about learning the 2-5-1, applying it to repertoire, but then we're talking about adapting those 2-5-1s so that they sound good on the piano, so you sound like a piano player. I realize I'm giving a lot of information right now, but I'm a big believer in getting people to see the big picture. And I want you to know where all of this is headed so that you actually sit down and take the time to discipline yourself and do the groundwork that you need so that you'll be able to deal with some of these various, they're called voicings, chord voicings. Otherwise, you're just really not going to have a good time, and you're going to be lost. But that's what we're talking about, shell voicing instead of, and that's really more how a real piano player is going to play the piano. So again, another thing you can do with your major scales, just to reinforce the whole idea of the 2-5-1, is to take your major scale, play 4 notes, starting with the 2 chord in the left hand. So this is the key of G. I'm starting with G in the right hand, but A minor 7 in the left hand. I'll do it again, starting on G, changing the chord, D, E, F sharp, G, back down. There's the now, key of F. Now, key of E flat. Now, key of D flat. So I'm starting with a D flat in my right hand, but I'm playing an E flat minor 7 chord in the left hand. And you want to become very fluent in being able to link those two together, the 2-5-1 in the left hand and the major scale in the right hand. Now there's other tunes that we can learn, and we will learn to reinforce that 2-5-1. But this is a good place to get started. So if you have any questions, you can email me. Email me at my address, Jonathan Eder, JONATHANEDER, jonathaneder@hotmail.com. You can also visit my website, thepianolesson.com. And I look forward to making another lesson for you in the not too distant future. Thanks for spending the time to watch.